Actually, it didn't mute the thing either. Definitely having technical problems, man. I have to get some money like as soon as possible to get this damn computer straight. Still rubber bands everywhere. Welcome to Coffee Havoc number 2. Throwback Thursday is canceled tonight. I will have to make it up to y'all tomorrow. And Instagram just paused. Technical problems. Instagram just paused. The YouTube wouldn't work on my computer that I'm filming on. So yeah, we're going to call that Throwback Thursday is a complete and total wash. So we're just going to do Kung Fu and martial art talk. And while we're at it, I'm just going to work some weapons as I talk. You know, the chobos and the kamas. You know, coming a little bit more resilient with these things. Let me slide Instagram over so that if it pauses again, you guys will know what to come to Kung Fu Havoc number 2 and look for. Now, the thing about martial arts, you know, I like to give you guys as much truth as possible. You know, undeniable. I try to give you every bit of the truth that I know, as seen, as done. But I also let you know, like, this shit here, this shit here, this shit here. You're not going to do that shit in a real fight. You're going to do that shit in the movies because it looks cool. Alright? So, you know, if you've seen, like, Rambo 2 or 3, where he's fighting a Filipino guy with the short sticks, and he goes like this, and then and they go. Okay, so, this here is pretty much just showing off, maybe playing with it a little bit, but it's not really going to happen. Once you guys start whacking these sticks, you're not going to be doing this shit. You know, your transition isn't going to be as flawless as that, you know, or that. You're not going to get the chance. I'm going to be honest about it. If you got a guy who's fighting with double sticks and you got double sticks, there's going to be a lot of things that's going to go wrong. There's going to be a lot of things that's going to get hurt. Like your knuckles getting racked in the midst of fighting. Because, you know, when you're fighting, you already know your big targets. You know, center mass, inside the arms, outside the arms. You know your big target, the legs. But, you know, the way for this shit to actually work is really simple. You have to be better with your sticks than the guy across the field for you is with their sticks. Straight up. You know, if I'm good with my chobos, but you're an ace, you could probably beat me with one chobo. No. Unless I'm secretly an ace too and you just don't know it. The problem with fighting with chobos or short sticks is that your knuckles are going to get racked. So if you're fighting this way, or this way, or this way, and not this way, you know, your knuckles are going to get racked. And that shit's going to hurt. I don't give a damn what any other martial artists tell you. Getting hit with these motherfuckers are going to hurt. And if you get hit the right way, you either go to sleep or you go and slam to the fucking morgue. These things are not toys. Granted, these are wooden ones that used to be kamas. But my kamas things broke, so I turned them into chobos because they was perfectly even. And I don't have to go out and look for a perfect set of sticks to make my own chobos. I have plenty of homemade chobos that I've miscut, and one's a ½ inch or a ½ centimeter bigger than the other. But these were perfectly symmetrical. Got new chobos. I've wrapped mine with like rope. So under the tape, you can't really tell. But under the tape, there's rope. So that I'll have a lot better grip. And then I electrical tape this shit. Because electrical tape is my thing. I love electrical tape. So I use it on everything. No. But, you know, you're not going to do that. Your straight moves, your blocks and your strikes, those are pretty much it. Basic shit. Throw a kick or a punch in there, you know, boom, 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 throw an elbow. You know, you're going to keep that shit simple. You're going to make sure that you rack somebody's knuckles before they rack yours. Because when you rack their knuckles, they're going to release this weapon. And when they release this weapon, bam, bam, you're going to tear their ass a new one. It's just that simple. It doesn't get any more simpler than that. And these things, they're solid. They're not styrofoam. They're not rubber. These bitches are straight solid. So when you get hit by these some bitches, you're going to know it. You hear how that sounds? That shit hurts. Get hit here, that shit hurts. Hit across the chest, get hit in the collarbone, hit anywhere with one of these things at full force, shit's going to get broken. Shit's going to get hurt. So when you're making movies, they generally make these things out of rubber or plastic. It's durable enough so that it looks real, but it's not going to hurt the actor in case there's an accident. Alright? Same thing with prop weapons. Prop weapons, they look really, really real. And 9 out of 10, they're either really good plastic or really hard rubber. Just in case shit goes wrong. And somebody who's watching here, remind me that the last day of the month is the anniversary of Brandon Lee's death. So I need to make a video tributing Brandon Lee. Alright. Make sure that I remember that. Anyway, you're not going to do that in a fight. This is good for training and practice. No world, this sucker. And now you know why you don't do that. Because one hand will score and the other one won't. And it's a big clusterfuck. So if you're going to train, you're going to not whirl your weapons. You're going to block, strike, block, strike, block, strike, block, strike. You're going to do that. You're not going to do this. Because you see how far that went off versus this one? Now watching them carefully. See, that one was perfect. But you're not going to get that perfect spin every time. So you're going to need to know about that shit. So it's when you get into a real fight, chobos versus chobos. No. You're not going to do this shit right here. You're not going to do that shit. Anybody who tells you they are, okay, well, don't come over there whirling the motherfuckers at me. Because the second this shit leaves your hand, bam, I'm racking your fucking knuckles. Why am I racking your knuckles? Because your ass shouldn't have been showing off. You came to fight, I'm going to give it to you. You're not going to like the results. It's just that damn simple. You wanted to fight, you got it. You don't do that in a real fight. It's not going to happen. It will never happen. You will not get the chance against somebody who knows how to fight. They're not going to give you the chance to do all this. Let's whirl this shit. Alright? Now, you might do your steps. Yeah, you might do that. But you ain't doing this. You ain't doing that shit. Because you release your weapon, you might release your hand. Because you might throw one of these bitches, and at the time that bitch whirls, somebody hits that stick, it's gone. You're one weapon down. And if they hit that stick and then hit your hand, they just racked your fucking hands. They might have broken the damn thing. Now you got one weapon. Because you chose to fuck around instead of doing what you're supposed to do. Now, I would like to say, the same can be said for kamas. Not so much tampas, because tampas is the kind of weapon that you never will let go of anyway. Kamas, you don't do this. That's why. Kamas, you don't do this, because those are blades and they will cut your fucking hands clean off. If you're not careful, you don't do that. They're kamas. They are blades. They are mini sickles. These are also wrapped with rope so that they have good grip. Just so that you can see. Just so that you can know, I like lose grip a lot. Y'all have seen me drop these things on many a fucking occasions. So, you need to know your shit. You're not going to do this in combat. One here, then you start like this. Alright? You don't start like this if you want this down here. You start like this in most katas with kamas. But if you want to be cool, you can start down here. If you want your grip down here by the blades, good chance you could lose a finger. So you want your grip just about mid-range so that you got a better chance of not cutting off your own hand. So block, strike, block, strike. You understand? Blocking, blocking, strike. That's an upward thrust up. That's a gut maneuver and up, and it is rarely done with kamas. Rarely done. I ain't saying it can't be done, but it's rarely done. Your kama blocks. Boom. Strike. Boom. Strike. Now, that is for someone who's coming down here. In the event that they come down with two weapons and you block like this, you better be able to extend the foot. Boom. These are short-range weapons. These are not long-range weapons. These are not for close quarters combat. Excuse me, that was a mistake. These are exactly for close quarters combat. They are not for long range combat. These are when you get up close and personal with someone and you get in and then you gut them. Versus a katana, which gives you a lot of space. Now, you have a katana, you got space. So try to remember that. My back is itching. Not my ass, my lower back, like right there. Ah, that feels so good. Sorry, y'all. But yeah, so if you're going to fight like this, see this position? See, this hand's top, this hand is at the bottom. This is a block and a strike. This is a block and a gouge. So you can figure that out. I don't recommend that shit. I recommend here. But in the event where you're down here, you need to be ready. Most of the time, if you see this shit right here, where the comma's this way and my hands are this way, it's probably for a movie. But in real forms, your shit's supposed to be this way. Supposed to be. But it also depends on who's teaching you what. If they're teaching you standard, your commas are up. They're teaching you like some kind of special treatment or something, then your commas can be this way. Do I recommend that shit? Hell nah. Let's see here. You slip, you turn that blade the wrong way, you're going to gut yourself. Here, you actually are used to seeing the blade. Alright? So when you see the blade, you can see it. Versus down here. Now, down here is not impossible, it's just that it's improbable, but it diverts your sight. And it also diverts your enemy sight. So it's a plus and a negative. Because you can gouge, like low angle strikes. Or you can do it this way, strike and then gouge. Because they'll probably block the one that they see. They probably won't block the one that they don't. Understand how that works. And again, you're never going to do this. See how my hand got that blade? If it was a real blade, I wouldn't have a hand. Or I'd lost a thumb or a good portion of my hand. So yeah, there are some things that you don't do. That's one of them. Now, if these was commas, which they are, what I meant to say, if these was tampas, sometimes I get fucked up sometimes. So, if these was tampas, they would never leave your hand. Tampas don't leave your hand under no circumstance. When you block, you still have your tampa. And when you block this way, you can go out. You can go out that way. But when you're here, you want to go out towards in versus in towards out because you might nick your ribs. So, with your tampas, boom, 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 boom. You're going to have to understand how these things work. You throw a jab, you can go over, or you can go under. I don't really like the under. Over's more comfortable for me. Under is not, But it's the same thing on inside, outside. It's the same thing like when I tell you about how to divert a kick when your hands are about, how you want to put your opponent in a direction so that you can escape. Especially if you're not a really good fighter, if you haven't been trained really well, and if you've never been in a fucking street fight, if you're just making movies, knock yourself out. But if you happen to have to get into a real fight and you're not really good, and you have the tampas, you got half the battle won as long as you know how to swing these some bitches. Alright? Because you can put these bitches together and baseball bat the shit out of somebody. Or you may have tampa training. Boom! Boom! Understand? Because with a tampa, you got a 2-in-1 sale damn near every time you swing. So you throw a punch and you whip it. So this part right here, the tampa, strikes them, and then you strike them again. Then you can retreat. And as you retreat, you can throw another punch. Boom! When you punch them, if you hit them with your fist, when they fade back, you can strike them again. So basically what that looks like is you hitting here with your fist, and then you're whipping it back around and clucking them in the head. So you struck, you threw a jab, your fist hits them, and then you throw that damn tampa around. Now tampas, when you're using them, those are like your standards. Block, strike. Block, strike. So, double strike. So, it's just all on who's teaching you what. So, boom, boom, boom. You don't have to do too much with tampas. Boom, boom, boom. And they're fairly easy to operate. You don't have to do anything fancy with them. They're not made for you to have to do all this whirling and all that shit. Nope. Just stick them out here. Stick them over here. Because when you strike, you got to get 7 or 8 inches. Boom. Somebody's coming at you. Boom. You don't even have to use your own actual hand. You're just using the fucking tampa. Bam. Run right into the sumbitch. Boom. Now you see how that works? Versus, now I got commas. I got to try to block them and gouge them. Or I got to be real nice. Double gouge. As they swing, I can block and I can strike. With tampas, I ain't got to work that hard. Because I'm not trying to kill anybody with tampas. I'm just trying to keep them from fucking me up. So I'm blocking. I can come that way. I can come that way. I can throw a foot. I can throw the tampa. Really depends on what you are choosing to do with these things. Now, mind you, these actually are commas. They're practice commas, so these are wood. That's why I can hold them by the blades. But for all medicinal purposes, because I don't have money to go buy actual tampas, and the Dragon Knife Company no longer exists here in Charlottesville, so I can't buy tampas from Garfield, wherever you may be, Garfield, thank you. You know, the tampas, they're pretty dangerous weapons. Boom, boom. Now, people don't expect them to be dangerous because they're wooden weapons. Alright? Let me explain this to everyone watching. No matter what brand of weapon you choose to use as a martial artist, there are guys like me. Alright? I'm going to be honest. I'm not a big steel fan. I like the Sai because I was in love with Raphael. That's it. If it wasn't for Raphael the Ninja Turtle, I could care two shits about the Sai. I like the Majestic Spear. I like the traditional terracotta sword. Would I use them? Only for training. I would never go into battle with that kind of shit. Now, granted, yeah, they are for killing. The Majestic Spear specifically. You have range. You have motion. You can do that shit. The sword, you still have options with the sword that may have to allow you to get closer to your opponent than you want to. And then you got to remember that Chinese and Japanese armor was some really tough shit. So, I would much rather have a weapon that has range, like the Majestic Spear, or a bow staff, versus a goddamn sword. That's just me. I would never ever tell you what you like, but I will tell you this. I'm more of a wooden weapon kind of guy versus a steel weapon. Now, you have to understand, the first weapon that was ever used in the entire world was a rock. The second weapon was a stick. And when we learned how to combine them together, you got a steel blade with a wooden handle. The hilt was generally wood way back in the day. You guys can go Google that shit and fact check me if you want. But I can tell you like this. The first person that was ever killed was Cain. Cain killed his brother Abel with a rock. Then the next weapons that came out to be was sticks. As I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, my rod and my shield protects me, etc., etc. My rod and my staff. Well, there ain't much difference between your rod and your staff. No. They both were fucking sticks. So martial arts has been around a lot longer than you think. But you know, if you know how to use a wooden staff, and if you know how to use it correctly, you don't need nothing else. And yeah, everybody be shitting on the bow staff. Well, let me point you in the direction of a man who's damn good with the bow staff. His name is Yin Yang Man. Go Google him from WMAC Masters. He'll show you some shit with a bow staff. Understand, a bow staff ain't always a fucking joke. Alright? Don't ever underestimate a weapon because it's a wooden weapon. Don't ever underestimate a steel weapon. Yeah, both weapons are deadly in the right hands. In the wrong hands, they're deadly too. Not only are they deadly for the person that is using them, but they're deadly for the person who's facing the person that is using them, because if you don't know what the fuck you're doing, not only can you fuck yourself up, but you can fuck somebody else up and yourself at the same time. I.e., now you know I would never take the fucking Majestic Spear into battle. I know how to use a bow staff. I'm okay with the Majestic Spear, but I ain't no fucking ace with that bitch. And I would never ever intend on trying to kill anybody. But the Majestic Spear is a very dangerous weapon. Understand that. The terracotta traditional Chinese warrior sword is a very dangerous weapon. Even though it's flimsy and it's built to be flimsy, it is a dangerous sword. The butterfly sabers are dangerous weapons. The fucking butterfly long saber is a dangerous weapon. The saber itself is a dangerous weapon. You can hurt yourself in training with those. So I don't train with steel weapons. That's why you rarely see me doing any of these sword videos anymore. Fear. I ain't gonna lie, fear that I'm gonna fuck up and cut my arm off on the middle of a goddamn live broadcast, because that's gonna fucking be awesome. You know, it'll probably give me some serious fucking ratings, but no. I don't need the ratings as much as I need my hand. Alright? I understand how that works. But yeah. Because we're having technical difficulties, we're only going to do martial art talk just because of the fact that I can't tribute the VR troopers or anyone else. But yeah, if you're going to learn a martial art, I always suggest that people start with wooden weapons first because they're easier to maintain. You know, you ain't got to do a whole lot of shining and cleaning a bow staff, you know. Knock the dust off that bitch, wipe it down with a cold cloth every now and again. You ain't got nothing to worry about unless it warps. Now, if it warps, you can go and hang it up. Go buy a new staff. Because once it like gets like watery and it soaks up all the shit, unless your shit's like pure bamboo, you're just fucking yourself with it. And it'll probably snap. And you don't want that to happen. I have snapped a bow staff that was not pure bamboo. that was made out of a fucking broomstick. So yeah, it happens. So you don't want that. Now, the thing with wooden weapons though, they are the best weapons to train with because even when they hit you and they hurt, your recovery time does not mean you're going to the hospital unless you do some serious damage. Like if you break your own rib trying to do this versus when you should have been doing this, but you decide, oh, I'm going to go inside to outside. Yeah, fuck that shit. Now, when you using tampas, I will be honest, you will probably rarely kick. Not saying that you won't kick because it really depends on who the fuck you're fighting. Now, if you're having a tampa battle, you're going to have some fun with that. Because when you swing out, if they swing in, you're going to collect. So, tampa fights are going to be fun. If you're throwing a punch and he blocks it with his tampa and comes back around and you don't block it with your tampa, somebody's going to get hurt. Which is another reason why if you're going to train with any kind of weapons, I highly advise, especially if you're training with an extra person, to get pads. Get your elbow pads, get your knee pads, get your chest protector, get your fucking headgear, get your mouthpiece, get your cup if you're a male. I don't think women have to deal with that problem, so get a very padded sports bra, and you will make sure that you have that vest just in case. Also, you want some gloves to protect your hands. Because if you're tough for battling and you're just practicing but you have your equipment on, then you have a safer chance of actually getting through without getting fucked up. Where if you decide, okay, we're going to be macho. What I'm wearing right now, let me pull a Vin Diesel. It doesn't matter if you win by a minute or a mile. Victory is victory. Alright, well, it do matter when these goddamn tampa sticks come across the bow of your face. Because it's going to hurt. It's going to hurt like shit. Any martial artist that hasn't been hit with a tampa, don't fucking make no comment. Tampas hurt. If you haven't hit yourself with a nunchuck by accident, or when you're doing the forms, nunchucks hurt too. Trust me. My first homemade pair of nunchucks, it bounced off a tree and hit me in the forehead. And I learned right then and there that the nunchucks have a problem. That recoil, if you're not quick on the wrist, you're going to get hit. And if you are quick on the wrist or you're too quick on the wrist, you're going to get hit. So don't set yourself up for that shit. Now, before I end the video, let me apologize once again because I talked too much and I did less martial arts than I should have. But I'm not going to teach you something that you can't use. I'm not going to show you something that I know won't work. But here's the thing. What won't work for me might work for you. Yeah, I know that sounds like a hypocritical thing to say. But you won't know it until you try it. But I'm the first person to tell you, don't do it. Because taking a chance is great until it's not. I had a nephew that I got talking to yesterday and today because we got to talk about fighting. Shout out to K-Ron. Shout out to Omar. Those are two of my nephews that at least participate me in a little now and again. But as I told this young man, I said, look, man, everybody think they're an MMA fighter these days until they get hit in the mouth. It's a whole different ball game when you in the cage versus out in the street. I've never been in a cage, and if I get in a cage, I don't like rules. Understand that. Not being able to elbow somebody in the spine is an illegal move. Not being able to hit somebody in the crotch, I respect that rule. I would never do that unless it was an accident. But as far as like elbowing you in the spine, when you coming to body slam me or you trying to dump me over or do some BJJ shit, I ain't letting that shit happen. I'm sorry. I ain't letting that shit happen. But like I said, everybody think they're badass until they get hit in the mouth. And remember that thing I told y'all about glass jaws and iron jaws? There's a difference. You hit somebody with a tampa and they got an iron jaw, you're just going to piss them off. Which is why generally if you're going to use tampa shots, I always suggest the body. If I throw a punch, I'm going for your chest, and I can cluck you in the collarbone with this tampa. Boom! I'm also short enough that that's possible. For you tall guys, y'all got to be a little bit more distance. But the thing is, with tampas, because they're close quarters range, you ain't got that hard to work if you're tall. However, it also depends on who the fuck you're fighting on the other side. Fights are very situational. Fights change at the drop of a hat. And you have to understand that. No matter how big or small your opponent is, their skill level is the only thing that you have to worry about. When you're in a fight with somebody who's got some skills, you have to worry about their skill level. You don't have to worry about their size. You got to worry about, alright, how long this motherfucker been fighting? Has he been fighting in the streets? Has he been fighting in the cage? What is my out game? Because your end game is you're already in it and there's no way out but to go through this guy or to put him to sleep. Now, before we get too deep into that, the facts of the matter is really simple. If the guy's really good at blocking, you're going to have a hard time to get in there. If the guy's really good at striking, you're going to have a hard time to get in there. So the key to any martial art, and I don't give a damn who I piss off, adaptation. If you can't adapt in a fight, you're taking a nap. Alright? And now, I ain't say you was getting choked out. I ain't say you was getting knocked out. I just say you're taking a nap. You could get choked out. You could get knocked out. You have to understand that when you step in that cage, those are really only two possibilities. Tap out or knockout. That's it. Now, many years ago, I had a friend named CLS who was telling me about getting into MMA. Outside the fact that it was before I had to have my hip replacement, and it was also before the fact that they had like certain weight classes. When he broke the rules down to me, because he said, "What are you gonna do, James, when somebody comes to tackle you?" And I said, "Oh, that's easy. I'm gonna knee him in the fucking sternum, and I'm gonna elbow him in the spine." He said, "Nope, you're out. You're gonna be disqualified. You'll probably be barred for life." I was like, "Let me get this right. I'm fighting in a cage, but I'm not supposed to fight the way I was trained, pretty much." So yeah. If you're coming at me and you're going for a double leg, my knee is right there. Boom! You're going to eat that bitch. I'm sorry. If I offended anybody with that, especially if you're a BJJ guy, you're going to eat that shit. You're going to eat that shit. Now, all of y'all are watching. I love you. I thank you. I want you to go watch how easy it is for these dudes to get double takedowns. Watch how easy these guys, they see the guys trying to come, but they don't do shit. They don't try to knee the motherfuckers. They don't try to, like, bash in their heads and none of that shit. They try to sprawl with them. Sometimes you can't sprawl. Sometimes you got to absorb that blow. Which is why I said, I'm going to knee them in the goddamn sternum and elbow them in the back. Until I was told I couldn't do that. But here's how it works in the streets. I know you could try to body slam me on the concrete. I ain't fixing to let that shit happen. Not on any given damn day. If I'm in my bed sleep, and you roll me out the bed, yeah, you got me. You literally caught me sleeping. But we about to square off, and you coming down to try to scoop me up, it's going to be the worst mistake of your damn life. It's also going to be the last mistake of your life, because this knee, or this knee, whichever knee is closest to your face, is what you're going to go into eat with. I'm going to try to knock your fucking forehead clean through the backside of your brain. I'm sorry. I probably shouldn't be that brutal as a martial artist, but I'm also 5'3.5". I'm 127 pounds of problem. And you're going to get every goddamn pound of that problem with that knee to your face. See, fights work on the policy of which one of us is the better fighter. If you a ground and pounder, I'm not going to say you're not really a fighter. I'm just going to say you don't fight very well standing up. Alright? If you're not a ground and pounder, and your shit's good, if your shit's Chuck Liddell good, you're good to go. If your shit Ken Shamrock good, where you don't get taken down, you ain't gonna get your ass beat. If your Dan Severn's good, where you just stand the fuck up, or if I can out-rustle your shit, ain't gonna be no worries. Do what the fuck you want. I'm none of that shit. I'm James Williams Jr., and I'm gonna hurt you. That's how good I am. I know what you're gonna try to do to me, because I'm 5'3.5". And everything you think you're gonna try to do to me, most people have already tried, because I'm 5'3.5". Alright? Let me explain that. See, a lot of people don't understand that your size does not really matter. It's all about them skills, buddy. It's all about them skills. And I ain't just saying that because this is something that the Army taught me. I knew this before I got in the Army. There's a lot of short dudes in the Army. There were dudes that was actually shorter than me. None of my drill sergeants were short. But there are a lot of dudes that were shorter than me. Now, but I can tell you right now, if you're willing to let somebody body slam you, and you let that shit happen, when you know you could have stopped it, you deserve to get your ass kicked. If I've offended you, I'm sorry. I can tell you right now, if I got to go against somebody who does BJJ, and they're bigger than me, they're stronger than me, and they're way better at getting me on the ground, they got to die to get me on that ground. Because I ain't going to let that happen. People only do to you in a fight what your dumb ass allowed them to do to you. Now, if somebody walks up behind you and reaches around and snuffs you in the face, they are a coward and they are a bitch-ass motherfucker, and that's going to be the only way they're going to be able to snuff me. If we fight and square up, and they decide to come down, they're going down. Simple as that. I don't have to sprawl when you're already right there. You're right at my knee. Bam! I drive that bitch right through your fucking skull. Why? Because your skull was there. Now, I could try to do some fancy Jackie Chan shit and roll over your back. I know that I can do it because I made a movie where I did that with a friend of mine and I landed in cat shit. So, I know I can do it, but doesn't mean I should do it. Because 9 times out of 10, just because you know you can do something doesn't mean that you should. And especially in a fight. Whether it be a real fight, a movie fight, or a cage fight, which is also real fights, just so that nobody would think that I'm trying to say cage fights aren't real. Oh no, they're very fucking real. And injuries are very fucking real. But I can tell you right now, there are some moves that, you just can't really do. There are moves that are reserved for the movies, specifically for the movies, because they work in the movies. They don't necessarily work in real life. When I tell y'all about tornado kicks and reverse tornado kicks, and why you should and why you should not do them, it's because shit happens. Any given Sunday, in any given fight, if I go up for this kick alone, all you really got to do is be a better defender. If you're a better defender and you just bat everything I throw at you, it's a good chance that you're going to get one in, and it's going to be the one that sends my ass to sleep. If it's a good chance that you are a counter striker, a really good counter striker, and I throw this bitch and you block and you launch one, and before I know it, I'm eating the dirt, I mean, you're a really good counter striker and I fucked up. Anytime you do something that's not a basic front or a left or a right kick, when you start getting into shit like that, you left the ground. There's a good chance that when you leave the ground, wherever you land, I don't intend on being there. So when you throwing that jumping tornado kick, I'm expecting you to do some dumb shit like that. Honestly, truly to God, I've watched enough point karate and taekwondo that I notice people are doing the toe tap and all this shit, and then the paintbrush where they ruin your foot and all that shit. Well, here's the thing. In a street fight, you're not going to get that fucking chance. You're not. I don't care what anybody else tells you. I don't care what they say here on Instagram or Facebook. I'm going to tell you the motherfucking truth. Whenever I've gotten into a fucking fight with martial arts, I've never done anything that wasn't simple. I kept that shit simple. Front axe kick, side kick. That's it. No jumping spin kicks. No fucking flying through the air. When I got jumped, I did a real simple judo throw. That's it. I elbowed him in the sternum, I rolled back off of him, and I got ready to go. No fucking fancy shit. Fancy shit don't win fights. Fancy shit just looks cool. Which is why all that shit's in the movie. Most of the motherfuckers that do fancy shit in the movies, they'll tell you. I wouldn't expect you to try to attempt this shit in real life, because you do a backflip if you want. You start running from me, and we got to a position where we about to fight, and you do a back tuck flip. If you about to do a kangaroo kick, I'm a sidestep. And what a kangaroo kick is, for those who don't know, is where you generally do a back tuck and you lay out and kick with both of your feet into my chest. Not the kid. Not me. When you go for that back tuck, when your head is going over here, boom, my foot's in your fucking back. If you think I'm going to let you complete that move, you don't know Jesus. But you'll meet him really, really soon. Because I'm going to kick you dead in your goddamn back, and I'm going to make sure you land on your face. And when you hit your face, it's going to be done. I'm not going to sit there and let you get the fuck back up. I'm not that damn dumb. If I kicked you in your back, you busting this back flip. You right there. I'm kicking you right here. Smack dead between your shoulder blades. You ain't landing the way you thought you was going to land. You ain't landing on your feet. And if you stick that landing, I'm going to be close enough to you to fuck your shit up. Simple as that. And you don't know what I'm going to do next, because I'm not going to know what I do next until that move opposes itself. But if you don't stick that landing and you land on your back or your face, fight's over. Because I done knocked the wind out you, plus I kicked you in your fucking back. You got to fight with this before you fight with these. You have to. You have to know your game plan. And you have to know that in the middle of a fight, your game plan can change like that. You can be set. Y'all can be boxing it out. And you can be winning. This motherfucker game plan change. You like, boop, boop. You hit him with a two-piece and he come back with a foot sweep. You ain't ready for the foot sweep. On your way down, bam, he tag you in the fucking chin. You fall on this way, he tag you with a right, you coming back up this way. And if you're a little guy like me, your feet probably ain't never gonna touch the ground until you fucking hit the whole goddamn ground with your body. So, I can't be playing with y'all young cats. You going for a foot sweep, I'm gonna lift my leg, and I'm gonna return. I'll jump back, I'm gonna do something that's gonna get me out of the range of your foot. Because your foot and your leg is a fuck ton longer than your hands. Unless you got like gorilla syndrome where your arms is longer than your legs. But I'm short, so I ain't worried about that shit. You throw a jab, I'm going to tell you like I tell everybody else. I'm using Kung Fu for the beginning of the fight. I'm getting to your outside, I'm going to break your elbow, I'm going to slide down your arm, and I'm going to punch you in the neck. And if I can't reach your neck, I'm going to slide down under the arm, and I'm going to hit you in the rib. Or the liver. It just depends on which hand you throw. You throw a left, I'm over here. You throw a right, I'm over here. I'm going to get out of the way and get you to the outside. When I'm on the outside of you, I've got complete and total control. Because you have to cross your body to hit me back. Then you have to learn when to change from karate to Kung Fu or whatever other style you intend on using. That's why I said you need to learn how to adapt. Now, this has been Kung Fu Talk. Thank you for watching Kung Fu Africa number 2. Thank you, Instagram. I hope I taught you guys something without pissing you off. And if I pissed you off, I'm sorry. If you don't like what I said, go Google some of the shit that I said and watch people get their ass kicked. Go watch some of these UFC old school shows where motherfuckers just come and scoop people up. Go watch this shit and look at it. I want you to take your time. Go frame by frame and look at the time. It's 5 seconds for us, but 5 seconds is a long time when you are the one that's about to get scooped up and slammed on your motherfucking back. You have time. You have time. 5 seconds ain't that much for you outside. In the fight, I'm going to tell you how fights work if you haven't been in a fight. Shit goes in slow motion for some of us. For me, shit goes in slow motion big time. I have some innate ability to see shit coming in slow motion. I don't know why. It's been like that since I've been 12 years old. But when I see somebody throwing a punch, you see that, I see this. So that gives me enough time to calculate my motherfucking out plan. Boom, boom, Kung Fu. Boom, boom, karate. But he has a right hand that's still open over here. So fuck that shit. Boom, boom, might get me boomed. Where, boom, broken elbow, slide down, tagged him in the face. Broken elbow, slide down, broken rib, hit him in the liver. I'm hitting you where I know I can do damage versus hitting you somewhere that's just going to piss you off, like the face. Fuck that shit. When I break your elbow, I'm hitting you in the fucking throat. You can't breathe, you can be as big as a fucking house. You go on sleep if you get the air cut off. No, I cut off the air, I hit you in the throat, you gone. I ain't got to do nothing else to you, because you gone. I'm not going to be there when you wake up, but I know when you see me again, you ain't going to want to fuck with me. Because you know I'm going to try to kill you. Thanks for watching. It's Kung Fu Africa number 2, BC and you. Instagram.